Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. We are buzzing as always, coming in hot from one of my favorite cities in the world, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Here with the girl right now. We're back in her home country. And guys, if anyone is listening and you are coming, or you plan on coming rather, to DevConnect, please do swing by. It's in Buenos Aires this year, I guess every year, and it is towards the end of November, I believe the 17th to the 22nd. Come say hi. I'll show you my favorite steakhouses, couple of good places to have some wobbly pops, and a little bit more about Palermo and Buenos Aires. But first up, back in Buenos, and I'm pumped for this one. Fellow Canadian coming on the show. Today we have the one and only Hantao Yuan serving as Moku's marketing growth chief and community strategist. He has been acquiring creators and users for over a decade for game publishers and gaming brands. He's also sold his own esports team through M&A to Overtime Sports and advised 2 other teams through M&A. I'm so pumped to get into that. I've never met anyone who's done that. Super cool. Also backed by a world-class team of AI experts from MIT, IBM, and Johns Hopkins. The company has already built Web3's largest distribution engine, driving over 8 million daily active users across partner launches and more than $7 billion in cumulative, fully diluted value. Can't wait to get into this. Moku is growing at a crazy pace. You guys legit have a chance to become the behemoth in Web3 gaming. Can't wait to get into that. And welcome to the show, my friend. Pumped to have you on, especially another Canadian. How are you? I know you're a little sick. This is a bit of a flu game for you.
Yeah, thanks so much for the invite, Matt. I really appreciate your time as well. It's going great. We are super heads down right now, shipping and getting ready to release Grand Arena.
Okay, let's jump right into it. Normally we start with the guest. We'll save you for later and we'll get into it right away. But you do have to promise me one thing before the show ends, and this does have to be a bit of a quick one, as you and I are both a little pressed for time. We do need to get into Overtime Sports, esports, and how you sold your esports team, because that's something that really interests me. I think it's only getting bigger. I mean, every single year you look at what the young kids want to do nowadays. All they want to do is stream. That's all they give a crap about. They want to stream. They want to be content creators, influencers, and esports is a huge part of that. So we'll get into that. But to set the table for us, because you guys do a hell of a lot at Moku. What exactly is Moku? Give us the TLDR on Moku, and then we'll get into a lot of the fun stuff and Grand Arena, which I think is incredibly cool.
Yeah, so Moku, we have been building products in crypto for the last 4 years. We started out with a distribution platform where we published a lot of games in crypto, and we brought a lot of them to market through distribution, helping them get users, helping them get conversions to NFT mints, token sales, etc. And one of the lessons that we kind of learned through all that was a lot of people were building games that wasn't really right for Web3. The reason I say that is because we're not in crypto because we want to play games. We're in crypto because we want to make money, right? And a lot of the games that were being created were very similar to Web2 games, which is your like free-to-play MOBA, AAA shooters, but that's not why people in crypto are here. So the marketing was really different compared to Web2. And when we were building Grand Arena, we kind of realized that like, hey, we need to make something that allows people to speculate, allows people to have an edge and make money. And the third factor, which is AI, is we made that decision because if you look at content right now, if you go on TikTok and you scroll, you'll probably see a video of a gorilla doing cocaine or fishing or vlogging. And it's like, I can't even tell if it's real, right? Because AI content is getting so complex that it's hard. But for consumers, they don't really care. They just want entertainment, right? And that's why when we were building Grand Arena, we're like, okay, what do people in crypto want? Speculation, daily fantasy, and we're going to add that. AI, how do we make that content 24/7? And that's why we started making Grand Arena.
So speculation, daily fantasy, and AI, that's sort of the big 3.
Yeah, I would say fantasy is probably within that speculation bucket, but we're taking a twist to daily fantasy as well.
Okay. Now, prediction markets are super trendy right now. This, I could be wrong, but this is sort of where the speculation comes into play, where you guys have created this 24/7 daily fantasy game engine, 365, never sleeps, and you're giving users, aka crypto degens, the ability to gamble / predict / invest, even though it's not really investing, but investing. I mean, heck, betting on stocks is investing. You know what I mean? It's all the same shit at the end of the day. It's degeneracy at its finest form, right? But anyways, that is, am I right here, Hen?
Yeah.
Is that sort of the engine?
Yeah, we use our own AI model so that we can have 24/7 content. And daily fantasy allows everybody to play and speculate all the time. It's always on.
Okay, walk me through it. Give me an example. Like walk me through the whole thing so I can picture it without seeing it.
Sure. So as a user, first you would get some cards. And with these cards, you build the lineup. And these cards represent these AI agents who are NFTs within the game. And you enter into contests. So maybe there's a $10 slate for the day, or maybe a $1 that you can enter. Enter into the contest, you're competing against maybe a few hundred other players, thousands of other players. And depending on how your lineup scores points based on the performance of that character, right, completing objectives, you can place higher on the leaderboard and win rewards.
Gotcha. Okay. And the betting part of this, what kind of prediction markets is this? Are we talking traditional yes, no, over-unders? How does the betting engine work here?
Yeah, so the betting engine is primarily daily fantasy side. You can bet on live matches as well in the, like, you can watch the content being played out and you can also speculate over it. But the main thing that we want is actually people playing daily fantasy, having some card collectability elements to it, and then being able to utilize that to have an edge. Because, for example, it's like, oh, if I have a card of LeBron and I can enter that into a contest, I can trade that card back and forth. And that's where the crypto part comes in. But depending on how LeBron performs, I can get points and win the daily fantasy contests.
Interesting. Okay. Let's go back to the genesis here. If I did my research correctly, you guys started on Ronin. Now I think you're doing your own thing. I can't completely tell if it's still on Ronin, but I do believe you guys now have your own IP and your own game engine, and you're also sort of like a distribution model as well. Clearly you have a bit of a hot take, which I do tend to agree with actually, regarding how Web3 gaming sort of got it wrong. But walking through the genesis event, when did this whole sort of change happen from Ronin to wherever you are now? And why did you guys choose to sort of be like in-house game studio, dev studio, distribution studio, own the IP, create the games? Why did you choose to do it that way?
Yeah, so we're still on Ronin. The cards that are part of the daily fantasy will be tradable on secondary on Ronin as well as OpenSea. But the genesis is essentially, I've been a market participant for, I think, like 6-7 years now, since EOS came out, Tron, and like when B&B first got started too, I think. Like, I have participated in DeFi memes and games and all these different things. I come back and left a bunch of times because of bear markets, my bag's getting nuked. And there are all of these experiences, especially distributing the games, that kind of came to Web3, because what we saw for games in Web3 gaming specifically was Axie blew up. A lot of games started getting funding because of that. But then everybody was building the same Web2 games, or like Candy Crush, a lot of MMOs. So it was really difficult to stand out. And when we were bringing them so many users and also generating dollars for them, we kind of realized that, hey, it wasn't a perfect product market fit, because a lot of what happened in crypto is we see people moving around because of incentives, right? And incentives drives a lot of those things, like DeFi rewards, airdrops, Kaido yapping, right? And because people move around so much due to incentives, they kind of came to gaming because there were so many play to airdrop campaigns for gaming. But once they were over, everybody just left. So they didn't really have real players. People just wanted a financialized experience. And that's why we're like, okay, well, we don't have $50 million to make a AAA game. It's probably cost more than that. But we had to make an experience that was more for Web3 users versus gamers.
Gotcha. So that's why you guys chose to go betting first. Like maybe not betting, but the speculation aspect was probably the biggest piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, because in our game, we call it's not like players don't play the game. It's more like Football Manager or Hockey Manager. Like, you have a team and you're upgrading stats on different characters that you want to perform better. But the actual game is the daily fantasy and the speculation. So people aren't really playing like a traditional video game as much as, oh, these are financialized systems, speculative systems that I can get an edge in, understand the system better, and make money.
So this is like some daily fantasy football type thing,
Yeah.
except not football.
It's closer to fantasy sports
Okay,
than like memes and other speculative vehicles.
gotcha. Okay. I want to take a step back. You brought up a really good point about people just sort of chasing that, next rip in crypto. I don't think this is ever going to change, Han. Like, I mean, I look at what happened with Hyperliquid and Aster. I mean, heck, a couple weeks ago, Hyperliquid and Lighter earlier on this summer. Look at all the capital rotation events. It just seems like it used to be every couple months. Now it seems like once a month, if not once a week. There's a new capital rotation event that happens where people want to ride that wave, grab as much, profit as possible, and then nuke the chart, move on to the next one. Do you think that's ever going to change? Do you think that is even worse in gaming? What's your 2 cents on that?
I think it's worse in gaming because people don't have money in gaming. So I don't know, like if anybody watching has ever done marketing in games. Like gamers are some of the most skeptical people when purchasing products, and they have some of the lowest conversions when buying products. That's why it's so hard to get like ad dollars for games and like gamers. But in terms of kind of how we looked at it is like as long as you understand how the audience behaves and you understand that like hey, they are willing, like they have so much money, but they're willing to spend it for an outsized return. And if you're okay with that and building a product towards that, then that's when you can actually find product market fit in crypto, right? That's why we see like exchanges doing really well, Hyperliquid doing really well, Pump Fund doing really well. And I think it's just like leaning into that demographic and user persona versus pretending that they like games or they like certain things.
I like it. Okay. So, damn, you guys are really going all in on the profit side of things here. Is anyone else doing this? Is anyone else creating games for the profit, for the speculation, for the financial aspect instead of the fun aspect? And I will say, this is hypocritical of me because until you came on, I haven't really thought of this before. And I have bashed the fact that the previous games, like the Axes, were pretty dog shit, but the whole purpose was to make money and it didn't really work. But that wasn't, it was the purpose, but wasn't. You know what I mean? Like on the front end, they said, hey, we're creating this really fun game, but it really wasn't that fun. It was, a bunch of people in Eastern Asia farming it and playing it to live during COVID, which was actually awesome. But once that parade ended, like clearly it wasn't a fun game. So you guys are literally going out there and saying, this is a game you play for the financial aspect of it. It's still fun, but it's more finance than fun. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, like I think it's okay to lean into that, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
this is a very hyper financialized system and you're going to have fun playing and speculating on it, but it is like you're going to be entering into contests. You're going to be buying and selling cards to make sure you have the best lineup. You're going to be upgrading and playing a meta game. There's like a lot of aspects that you need to think about, like how do I use my capital most efficiently? I think that's okay, right? Because it's like, okay, well, if I have $10,000, do I go 10x long on ETH on Hyperliquid, or do I go on Aster and do the same thing? Because Aster hasn't given any airdrops yet, right? So I think just like giving people the ability and leaning into that will help us find product market fit faster.
Wow. Interesting, dude. What a start to the show here. You're on a roll. We're going to take a quick break. A huge shout out to our sponsor, the show, Prime XPT. And when we get back, we are going to keep buzzing. Huge shout out to Prime XPT, longtime friends and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News podcast. We love the team at Prime XPT as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet. You can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. Prime XPT is also running an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News pod. Use the promo code CryptoNews50, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Okay, back to the show at hand here. I want to talk about bridging Web 2 and Web 3, more specifically on the influencer side of things. I actually don't really know any Web 3 influencers who have a huge following in the Web 2 space. I know like BitBoy had, a bunch of like sort of non-crypto folks following him, but there's really not many. The biggest dogs, the Anthems, the Thread guys, like they're only really big on Twitter and they make a killing and they do a great job at it. But I feel like to really hit the hay on this and to go exponential and parabolic, you sort of got to go both when it comes to Web3 gaming. And I think that's one of the hard parts, because with a traditional DEX or a SEX or any type of just Web3 product that isn't gaming related, you can partner with the influencers and have a good product. You can really get mass adoption, get the word out there. But when it comes to gaming, it's like you got to sort of get the big streamers, the big Web2 influencers. How do you blend those two together on the marketing side of things?
Yeah. So I have a more contrarian take on this because the way that I look at it is like, if you look at Web2 products, it's just as hard, if not harder, to make a business. Because when you look at like AI companies, right, so many are getting funded right now by accelerators, and they're all providing variations of like chatbots or like AI boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff like that, right? So when it comes to our product, I don't think of it as a way of like, how do we get both and get like 1 billion users right away, right? For us, it's more so about how do we get the people that we know and want to market to, which is people in crypto. Once we get those users, then we'll go into like the people who like daily fantasy, who like speculation in Web2, stocks, finance people, right? Versus gamers. So I would rather market to like the daily fantasy players in Web2 and the people that are like, oh, wait, instead of waiting on the next NBA, NHL match, I could just put money in here like $1 every day and watch this
Right
play.
away. Gotcha. So you have no plan on going for the big, I mean, heck, I don't really even know. I know the big streamers like the I Show Speeds, the Aiden Rosses, XQCs. I don't think those guys game a lot anymore, but the biggest gaming ones, whoever they are, no plans on going after them?
No, not the gaming creators. Like, I think if people who are making content about like daily fantasy, like podcasts, if they have newsletters about daily fantasy, those might have better conversions than gaming creators for this product.
Gotcha. Very interesting. Okay. I've had many Web3 gaming C-suite execs on the team. No one's ever said that. No one's ever just been like, we're going for the crypto degens and the crypto degens only, or we're going for, in your case, we're going for folks who are daily sports gamblers and we want to get them over to this. So super interesting. Okay. I want to go back to a quote that you have in doing research for the show here. This was a good one, and I feel like this is getting more popular. Speculation is entertainment. I want to take a quick jag to prediction markets for a second. How bullish are you on prediction markets? I know you guys are sort of, it is, but it isn't. Again, the term prediction markets is a little weird right now. I feel like it's almost like Web3. It's like crypto. What really is it? It's a whole lot, because I mean, prediction market is sort of just a market, right? You can set up a market for anything. It's just the gamification of everything. What's your thesis on this, and how bullish are you on prediction markets?
Yeah. So, you know what they say, like, there's only a certain number of things that sell, and it's like dopamine, like entertainment, right? And then there's like some stuff that I won't mention for the show, but there's certain categories that are like known to sell to humans because of like emotions, excitement, things like that, right? And for me, I think speculation or that vertical of it is human nature. And I don't know about your parents, but my parents, like Asians love gambling. And whenever I was a kid, my parents would always visit other Asian parents for like, they would have dinner together. And then after dinner, they would play poker for like
I
literally
love
6 hours straight. So I think there's like a little bit of degen in everybody.
I agree.
And they just don't know it yet. Because if I was like, Matt, I'm going to give you $1,000, I want you to just go to the casino. If you lose, it's okay. Like, you'd probably be there for a couple hours, right?
I'd
You'd
be
be
there.
stressed a little bit.
I'd be there right away. I mean, if you gave me $1,000 stress free, I'd be 100%. I'm a craps guy. I'd be going right to the craps table, a bit of blackjack, bit of roulette, but never touch a slot machine. But yeah, I'd be hammering those
Yeah,
three tables for sure.
right. And if you made money, you'd be like, shit, I'm going to go play again. You know, maybe with
Exactly.
$5, maybe with $10, right? I think as long as the unit economics makes sense of like, hey, prediction markets, if I can enter in with $1, and because I know information or I believe something based on my knowledge and I can be right, and because of that edge, I can get an outsized return, I think most people will want to do that thing. Because Even in the last like bull cycle, a lot of it started because everybody's getting stimulus checks in the US.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh shit, what do I do with this? And they all started buying Doge on Robinhood. And because Doge was pumping, they were like, oh my God, I just made like a 2x on my money and I don't have a job and this is like free. And because of that, they're like, oh, should I buy this other token or should I buy Bitcoin or ETH? So I think that just like stimulation and that human nature is the reason why these speculative products will do well no matter what in the long term, especially the more transparent ones, right? Because a lot of times you go to a casino, like, if you play a slot machine, you're going to probably lose if you play an extended amount of time, right? But in certain games, you have some kind of edge.
I like that. I'm just taking notes. Yeah, I like that a lot. I wanna go back to literally square uno here. You, before getting into this, you sold. How does one start an esports team? How does one sell an esports team? Walk me through that whole thing. That's so cool. I've heard of Overtime Sports. I haven't done a huge deep dive into it, but I know there's esports teams worth 8 figures. Heck, there might be some worth 9 figures. I'm not 100% sure. I know it's a huge, huge market. Kids nowadays, they love to play games way more than when, I don't know how old you are. I'm 30. When I was young, I'm born in 95. Me and all my boys, we'd go play hockey, come home from hockey practice, the same group of 16 guys would be ripping COD together. That's just how it was. Or we'd be ripping NHL or ripping FIFA, whatever. It was electric. It was so much fun. So my mom was, coming downstairs and yelling at me to go to bed. Nowadays, that's all they do. They literally game 24/7. They stream. How did that all happen? How do you start an esports team and how do you sell an esports team?
Yeah. So I echo that. I'm in my 30s too. So when I was younger, like we had like dial-up, right? And for me, I didn't actually play video games until I was
Simpatico. Remember the
yeah,
Simpatico days?
yeah.
Electric.
Like I didn't play video games until I was like 17. I was literally playing street hockey, flag football, like
Yeah.
soccer and the
Same.
sports outside
Yep.
because there was nothing else inside to do, right? And once we started playing like different types of like StarCraft lands, and I was playing like Diablo back then, I started liking gaming more. But my parents still wanted me to be a doctor, be an engineer. But when I went into college, I kind of got started in gaming and I really learned how to like manage communities because I was running events for like 500 to 1,000 people in college for games. Like we would have Counter-Strike lands in the library and the power kept going up because everybody's bringing their like huge rigs in.
Come on.
Yeah, 144p frame rate monitors. And so like the library would always go out of power. We'd have to reset it and like figure out the land stuff. Like Smash, right? We had like hundreds of people play Smash tournaments. And I really wanted to get into gaming. So when I started, I was doing a lot of like back end stuff. So like biz dev, partnerships, project management. And I didn't really create my own esports team. I was introduced back then by a friend who was a YouTuber that got hired at the same company as me. And he was like, oh, hey, you have a pretty logical way of thinking about how businesses work. Why don't you join this team because they need help? And the team turned out to be Soar Gaming, which is created by the founders of FaZe Clan. So they made Soar and then they left Soar to somebody called Mac and then created FaZe Clan. So back then, it was all about like Call of Duty. It was either Call of Duty trick shotting on YouTube or like League of Legends and Dota, right? There's like 2 groups. And when I started helping them out, they basically just needed more like structure to their business. They needed to keep track of how all their spending is going, how they're making money, and how to grow.
These guys, they probably just wanted the game, right? They needed someone to do it. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. And then like when we were running gamer houses, like they didn't care about any of that like finance stuff. They just wanted to be like there and make videos and make games all day. Right. And so somebody had to do that. And it turned out to be me. And Soar, I think, later got acquired by E11 Holdings. And after I left, I found another team that I joined. And that was when Fortnite started popping off. But this is when Fortnite console was still pretty bad and people were playing primarily on PC. And this is the time also when it was like you either play PUBG or you play Fortnite, right? You play one or the other, not both. And so when the Fortnite side started really popping off and consoles on Fortnite especially started getting like patched upgrades, the team started taking off and a lot of my job was essentially like make sure the company ran on time, making sure all the finances were good, and also making sure that we had proper people to run the content side of it, right? Because it's like YouTube videos, TikTok,
Oh
Instagram,
yeah,
and like
tons.
publishing content, making sure that you're always active producing content. And then it's just like agency work. You sell those views against ad dollars. And eventually I met Dan Porter, who's the CEO and co-founder of Overtime. And he had his own esports team, but again, they were just a bunch of kids in the house who wanted to just game and be famous. And so he needed somebody more operational to come in and do it. So that's why when we talked, Dan was like, "Oh, why don't I just buy your team and then you can bring all the pages over. We'll rebrand it and we'll launch Overtime Gaming."
Wow, pretty darn cool. That's wild. Very cool story, man. Great up here, mate. This was a blast, and also short notice for the listeners. Han came on. It's sick. He's got an MJ flu game going on right now, and we had a last minute cancellation, and he came on super quick. He was supposed to record next week. We bumped him up to get this done. This episode is going to air on Monday the 6th. Huge shout out to Han for making this happen. Mate, before we let you go, any hot takes for us?
You want to
Bitcoin's going back all-time high. I mean, shit is popping off right now. Hyperliquid's looking good. I mean, Pump is gaining steam again. Like Solana's volatile as all hell. We had a crazy week. I think the top 20 was up on average like 12%. What's going on right now in crypto land?
Yeah. Do I have a hot take? Thanks for showing all my bags, Matt, first off. I have all of those mentioned. My hot take is I think as markets grow, there will be more and more hyper efficiency in how people do things. And the outcome of that is, for example, with Pump, we see that to get a good launch, you essentially have to bundle and snipe supply and do all these other weird things that might be illegal in order to get your token up and to the right. And we're at a point in the market where we're kind of getting to like almost a bull plus alt season potentially. But my main hesitation is because everybody from the last cycle is like, "Oh, I didn't take profit. I'm going to take profit this time for sure." That a lot of people might just be too jaded and concerned about like, "Oh, if this pumps up here, I'm selling and I'm out and I'm gone forever." And a lot of times they just might never come back. So yeah, that's probably my biggest concern and also hot take, that like it's so hyper efficient now that people might just be waiting to sell everything.
I like it. I got a hot take. I think this might be the cycle where the dog shit coins. And my apologies if you hold any of these, but a lot of the ones that I'm not going to name some of them because, we have guests who come on the show, but I think you know what I'm talking about. The coins that I don't know or you don't know any people in the space that use them that are still in the top 20. I don't think those guys are going to be correlative to the rest of the group. Normally they sort of all move together kind of thing. And we all know which ones I'm talking about. I don't know. I have a weird feeling that I think their time is done. I think the revenue meta is in. People are looking at, is there actually activity? Are there daily active users? And is this just spec? And I think a little bit of that is gone. We'll see. I'm probably going to be wrong. I still don't know how XRP is the friggin' fourth biggest coin. It makes no sense to me at all. But
I'm just hoping CZ doesn't sell all his ETH and Bitcoin to pump BNB.
that could happen too. I got out on BNB. I'm fully out, and that was a dumb move. So, but I'm not a good trader. Anyways, mate, really appreciate you coming on. Before we let you go, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you personally and, of course, Moku online and on socials?
Yeah, you can find me at HANTIO on Twitter, and Moku is just at Moku_HQ on Twitter as well.
Love it. Folks, what an episode with Hantao, Marketing Growth Chief. I was going to say CMO. That's why I messed it up at the very beginning. I've never heard of Marketing Growth Chief. Are you CMO or are you Marketing Growth Chief?
I just handle all the public stuff at the company, so I call myself the shit talker, instigator at the company.
A shit talker. Got you. Okay. Anyways, either way, appreciate Han coming on. What an epi. He is bringing the noise. We touched on a whole lot of everything and on short notice, and he is sick, so appreciate him a lot. Huge shout out to both of our teams for making this happen. For the listeners, if you enjoyed this one, I hope you did. Please do subscribe. Hit that like button. To my team, love you guys. Daryl, keep crushing it. Jaggy, you're doing a great job. And back to the listeners, guys, keep on growing those bags. Keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Love you guys. Q4 is off. We're running. We'll see you on the next one. All the best. Ciao.